apologise for what they've cost you. They're just still thinking about themselves. And this government won't always be perfect. But I promise you this, you will be at the heart of it, in the forefront of our minds, at the centre of everything that we do. And that's why I wanted to invite you here today, to show the decent, hard-working people who make up the backbone of this country belong here. This is a government for you. A garden and a building that were once used for lockdown parties. Remember the pictures just over there of the wine and the food? Well, this garden, this building are now back in your service. It's not just that the last government relied on easy gimmicks and bad ideas. Those things happened precisely because the government itself lost its focus on the hopes and ambitions of working people. During those recent riots, I made huge asks of the police and of the criminal justice system. People already stretched to the limit. They knew I was making big asks of them. And I'm not going to apologise for it. But let me tell you this. They delivered. They deserve our gratitude. And that's why I went to Southport, to Lambeth, to Belfast, to thank them personally, to shake the hands of the first responders who rose up to the ask I was making of them. They deserve a government that trusts them, supports them, and works with them. That is the sort of government that we will be. One that works with people, not does things to them. One that believes in hard graft, not gimmicks. Honest about the challenges we face, and working tirelessly to fix them. And that is how we will always work. Now, next week, Parliament returns. The business of politics will resume. But it won't be business as usual, because we can't go on like this anymore. Things will have to be done differently. We will do the hard work to root out 14 years of rot, reverse a decade of decline, and fix the foundations. Between now and Christmas, we will carry on as we've started, action, not words. We will introduce legislation and take decisions to protect taxpayers' money, to take on the blockers by accelerating planning to build homes and boost growth. We will forward this autumn to harness the full potential of AI for growth and for the public good. We'll bring rail service into public ownership, putting passengers first. The biggest levelling up of workers' rights in a generation to give people security, dignity and respect at work. And Great British Energy will be owned by the taxpayer, making money for the taxpayer, producing clean energy and creating good jobs. That is our focus for the rest of the year. But I will be honest with you, there is a budget coming in October, and it's going to be painful. We have no other choice, given the situation that we're in. Those with the broadest shoulders should bear the heavier burden, and that's why we're cracking down on non-doms. Those who made the mess should have to do their bit to clean it up, and that's why we're strengthening the powers of the water regulator and backing tough fines on the water companies that have let sewage flood our rivers, lakes and seas. But just as when I responded to the riots, I'll have to turn to the country and make big asks of you as well, to accept short-term pain for long-term good, the difficult trade-off for the genuine solution. And I know that after all that you have been through, that is a really big ask and really difficult to hear. That is not the position we should be in. It's not the position I want to be in. But we have to end the politics of the easy answer that solves nothing. But I also know that we can get through this together. Because the riots didn't just betray the sickness, they also revealed the cure, found not in the cynical conflict of populism, but in the coming together of a country. The people who got together the morning after, all around the country, with their brooms, their shovels, their trowels, and cleared up their community. They reminded us who we really are. I felt real pride in those people who cleaned up our streets, rebuilt the walls, repaired the damage. And I couldn't help thinking about the obvious parallels. Because imagine the pride we will feel as a nation when, after the hard work of clearing up the mess is done, we have a country that we have built together, built to last, that belongs to every single one of us, and all of us have a stake in it. Our hard work rewarded 12 times over, because we'll have an economy that works for everyone. An NHS not just back on its feet, but fit for the future. Streets that everyone feels safe in. No longer dependent on foreign dictators, because we're producing our own clean energy right here. And giving every child, wherever they come from, whatever their background, the chance to go as far as their talents will take them. I won't lose sight of that prize. I won't lose sight of what we were elected to do. And most importantly, I won't lose sight of the people that we were elected to do it for. You. This is our country. Let's fix it together. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I've got a number of questions from the media, and I'll start, if I may, with Vicky Young from BBC News. Vicky.
Vicky Young, BBC News. Prime Minister, you say that you want to be open with people, but some will think that you weren't honest during the election campaign about changes to, for example, winter fuel allowance. And many now want to know what the impact of the budget will be. So if you're being honest, can you tell them now what kind of tax rises you're considering?
Well, two or three things Vicky to say about that in the first place. We were being honest about the situation before the election. We set out very clearly what we would be doing with tax rises. I made it clear on numerous occasions that national insurance, VAT and tax would not go up, the triple lock for working people, income tax. And that remains the position. I also set out that our plans were fully funded and fully costed. What I did not expect was a £22 billion black hole. And I know the Tories say that's performative. If it's performative, why did the OBR know about it? Look at that figure of £5 billion last week, in 3 months. If that's performative, why didn't the OBR know about it? These are basic questions about what we have inherited. As I've just said, I didn't want to have to deal with the winter fuel allowance for pensions. But we have to fix the NHS. We have to fix our homes, our schools. And pensioners rely on them in the same way as everybody else does. So I'm not going to preempt the budget, but I'm absolutely not going to accept that the inheritance that we have isn't anything other than dire, a £22 billion black hole. And I'll just add to that what I said about the prisons, because I obviously feel very strongly about this. To have to gauge every day of those disorders, when people are trying to burn down hotels, I'm having to look at lists of prison places and where we've got them because of the mess that we were left. That's disgraceful. No Prime Minister should ever be in that position when trying to deal with disorder. That's what we inherited. That's what we will fix. Thank you, Vicky. Anushka, please.
Thank you. Anushka Rastana, IT.